Well, here it is, guys. Here we are back in the van, late for an oil change, leaking God knows what. Part two of a two-part series. And, we got some rain. We're going to have some rattling engine a little bit. Who knows? Anything is possible. I got a very aggressive haircut tonight. You see that? They took all of me. They scalped me a little bit. But we're talking about the Dragonlord Miniset, right? So in the last video, I say this is about it's kind of like a two-part series because in the last video, I set the context for what happened with Arthurian Legends. There was some interesting dynamics with Arthurian Legends, and I think that really plays into what we are currently seeing with the debut release of Ed Bear Jr.'s incredible, amazing Dragonlord Miniset. All right, so I have two theories here, two possibilities. One, this was strategically engineered and designed by Erik Curiosa to give you the hook. You see the Pudge Butcher on the thumbnail? They gave you the hook, right? Strategically engineered to be like this. Or, given what happened with Arthurian Legends and the issues with distribution and whatnot, there was a loss of confidence from distribution, and essentially distribution rejected the product, right? They underestimated the product at best, rejected it at worst. Okay? So hear me out. I talked about the Arthurian Legends experience in the last video. I don't want to belabor it too much, but long story short, it seems that it was quite heavily printed. It was always very readily available from distribution, and it was a pretty difficult sell. I mean, it was designed as a draft set. My theory is there is not a big, large, robust play system just yet. There wasn't an organized tournament scene. There wasn't great broad LGS adoption just yet. It's kind of niche and in pockets and kind of limited and widespread, and there's not like a lot of in-play opportunity just yet in the very, very early stages of Sorcery. It's not a knock per se. It's just kind of, we're not there yet, right? So this set designed for draft play, it kind of hit its ceiling very quickly. And even at distribution costs, it's really not profitable for stores to even buy it. And they're not seeing a lot of in-store play to really justify buying a lot of it, right, as a draft set. So here we are with Arthurian Legends. When something like that happens, you got to keep in mind how distribution works. It's not like Erik Curiosa just says like, hey, I want to make $4 million again. I'm just going to print a ton. I'm just going to sell it all to the distributor, right? It doesn't quite work like that. It's based on distributor demand and willingness to carry that product and how much they're willing to accept, and ultimately retailer demand, how much the distributor thinks they can sell. They don't want to be left with the product, right? So let's go back to alpha for a moment. $4 million raised in the alpha Kickstarter, 30,000 boxes. So how do you think it went when Erik Curiosa reached out to distribution? Southern Hobby, Peach State, or PhD, and the European distributors. Like, hey, you ever hear about Sorcery? The TCG just hit a record Kickstarter sale. We sold 30,000 boxes. It's a pretty good amount of boxes, right, for an alpha Kickstarter debut. $4 million, pretty phenomenal. So beta, no problem. Distribution picks it up. They print like a decent amount, as it seems, although it's sold very quickly. People were buying up beta fiendishly after a long wait for alpha and then waiting for beta to release. So what happens? Hey, distribution, remember when we blew out the first wave of beta? How about we print it again? Okay, no problem. We'll take it. Yeah, the stores want it. The players want it. Distribution takes up more, right? And then Arthurian Legends, right? A lot of buildup, a lot of excitement from Arthurian Legends. Hey, distributor, remember what happened with beta? We had to print this 3 times. You want to buy it, right? Yeah, we want to buy it. They buy a lot, right? And hey, this is going to be a play set. We're having a lot of success. We have a play network system with Cardi.io. People are playing in stores. We have store kits, So distribution buys it, and then they're left with the product, right? Because of all the reasons I stated in the last video. So here we are now. Dragonlord Miniset's coming up. Oh, Dragonlord Miniset. All the tubers are like, oh, 13 cards. I don't know. How's that going to make a dent in the meta, the players, the competitive players. 13 cards, we just got a 220 card set, we're kind of getting bored with it, right? We're satiated with it. What is 13 cards going to do? Unimaginable. What they didn't account for is twofold. One, a big rule change, making a massive rule change, actually, making the whole dynamic much different. Now your Dragonlord can fly. It's airborne. It can fly through the realm, right? Unbelievable. And then many other changes that really shook things up, really shaking things up. And then the other factor, Ed Bear Jr., right? What what the distribution and even what the sorcery community, the TCG community, did not account for is the reception to the artwork, the great and the name, the brand equity in the name Ed Bear Jr., right? So he was legendary, literally, from Legends MTG with his Elder Dragons, right? So people remember him from back then, the old school Magic players, like, wow. And guess what sells, guys? Dragons and wizards, you know? And maybe women too. In TCGs. They like the dragons, the wizards, and the women. But it's a dragon set, right? It's going to be popular. People are going to want it. It's Ed Bear Jr. And here's the thing: he's been out of TCGs for ages, right? So you forgot about Ed Bear Jr. What's he been doing? He's been having a massively successful art career outside of TCGs. And guess what that means? He has a massive following, tons of fans that want to buy whatever he does, especially his dragons that he's known for, amongst many other things, right? So when they hear about the Dragonlord Miniset, it's a slam dunk for Erik Curiosa. It's a whole new addressable market that's coming into Sorcery. So you know how, and some people are like talking trash, like, oh, Hadberry Jr., like, or like Sorcery, Erik Curiosa, they underprinted this. They're just gaming the system, right? They're just trying to, it's a gimmick. They're just massively short printing it, and they're trying to goose demand, yada, yada, yada. Well, you know what debunks that? The fact that Team Covenant had a pre-order sale that was wholly unannounced. I think they said like, "Hey, we're gonna release Dragonlord mini sets sometime this week." They do it in the freaking middle of the workday, right? I was in meetings all day. I get out of work. I got a million DMs. Everyone's like, "Mike, it's up. Go get it. Go get it. Go get it." Right? So I got all these messages. I was in meetings. By the time I got out, a few hours later, already sold out. I didn't even know it was for sale. Nobody knew. Nobody knew it was going to be for sale. And it was in the middle of the workday of the core market in the United States. And what happened? It sold out in 2.5 hours. That's not speculator demand. That's a bunch of freaking people that doubted the product and thought it wasn't going to shake up the meta and thought it was going to be boring, only having 13 cards, and underestimated all those factors. It was genuine demand. Genuine demand. It freaking bought it out super fast. So here's what I think, guys. I thought, at first I thought, maybe Erik Curiosa strategically engineered this, and this might be true. Maybe they did print a small quantity to really restore collector confidence after what happened with Arthurian Legends and multiple reprints of beta. People are upset about that. They want value to be in the product. So, hey, I'll show you. I'll just not print a lot, and it's going to pop off, and there's going to be all this resale value and all this stuff going on, right? Frenzy of demand, just agitating the social medias. Everyone's all worked up talking about it. That's great publicity, right? Maybe we'll play those games. However, now as I think about it more, maybe it's this rejected product, underestimated product theory that I most believe in, because the Team Covenant sale proves that. It proves it, right? No one knew about it, and it sold out in 2.5 hours. They didn't even know it was going for sale. It was in the middle of the workday. Terrible timing for a pre-release. Clearly, Team Covenant thought that it was going to last, for at least days or weeks or months, maybe at least till Gen Con, a few weeks after their pre-sale. But no, few hours, right? So, so let's go back to the theory that let's say distribution kind of rejected this product and didn't want to order a lot. So what does Erik Curiosa do? They're like, okay, we're going to print what you demand. You say that's the demand. That's what you think you can sell. Fine. We'll give you that. You satiate your stores. You think that's going to get out to the players? Fine. What we're also going to do is print some excess. We're going to give some to Team Covenant. And also, I think Erik Curiosa and or Team Covenant probably grossly underestimated demand too, because Team Covenant, I'm sure Erik Curiosa would want this in the hands of the players, right? So they probably, in hindsight, kind of wish they gave more to Team Covenant so they can, at least get it to all their subscriber base and their broad customer base that they've built, through their many years of a successful business and also supporting Sorcery from the beginning, selling so much beta in Arthurian Legends, right? But I think what they also did is they said, we're going to keep a bunch of this product for ourselves, right? There is distribution doesn't want it, but we got to make sure, maybe distribution, maybe we think the demand's going to be higher than distribution is willing to take on. So what we will do, Eris Curiosa, is we will take on more product ourselves. And like they said in the announcement with their tournament scene and everything, we're going to bring it to shows. So now we have leverage, right? We're going to give some to Team Covenant. We're going to let distribution distribute what they think they can distribute. And then we're going to hedge. We're going to keep some for ourselves. And now, if there is a lot of demand, we win, right? and we're going to prioritize getting it to the players. How are we going to get it to the players? A lot of the players are upset. They're like, I can't even get this product. They're catering to you, player, right? To you, player. Team Covenant sells a lot of product to players. They're like a player first company, right? They have this like friendly pricing model where they sell at MSRP and they do a lot of like gameplay coverage and they support all these indies, right? That's a player company, right? It's not like Rudy Alpha Investments is more of like a speculator investor business type ecosystem, right? They didn't give any to Rudy. They gave it to Team Covenant for the players, and they kept some for themselves for the tournaments. They're going to go to events. They're going to say, hey, who's going to come to events? Players come to events. Who's going to go to SCG conventions? Players to compete in a tournament. Who's going to come to Gen Con? Players. Where's the Dragonlord going to release? At the player tournament, right? At Gen Con. So ding, 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 ding. Checks all the boxes. They're catering to the players, but they win anyway, right? Whether they short printed intentionally or whether distribution rejected the product, they win with the players and the collectors. It's hard for the collectors to get. Some people are going to be agitated and upset. It's seemingly hard for the players to get, yet it's available through every player venue. So their most passionate player base who really wants and needs this product, they're the types of people going out to events, right? They're going to get it at events. Now, the one wrinkle in that, the one shortcoming and unfortunate thing, and I guess this is probably like a distribution problem, and really not the fault of Erik Curiosa, aside from maybe they could have done more to kind of handle some of the prior sets a little differently, or done more to kind of encourage store adoption and whatnot, right? The unfortunate thing is, since distribution seems like it's not going to get a lot, that means all these smaller LGSs are going to have a hard time getting a product. It's hard to grow that local community scene and feed the more casual player, right? So it's almost like the more competitive player or the people that have the time and the family dynamics where they can go travel to these events and stuff, they get rewarded and taken care of. And again, I'm sure that wasn't intentional per se by Erik Curiosa. I think they were surprised and didn't give Team Covenant enough. Certainly they underestimated demand. And Ed and I, we didn't underestimate it. That's what Ed's been saying on all his live appearances and on the social media. He and I have been talking about Dragonlord Miniset and how it's going to be a big deal for a long time. Go check out all my videos for the past few months and the past like 2 years. I was like, this is going to be the set. This is going to be the set that brings collectors back. And whether it's by design or coincidental, the Pudge Butcher hook, or just rejection by distribution, Erik Curiosa wins with collectors, because what's happening, guys? Everything is doing well. There's a lot of engagement. There's a lot of talk. There's a lot of controversial, which means a lot of engagement, which means a lot of free marketing, which means a lot of talk. And I think the players are going to get it in the end, and it's going to be okay. But in any case, getting the players back kind of revives that segment of the market and positions things very well for Gothic. And it creates excitement for tournaments. And I hope the company will work with us at Sorcery Con and hook us up with some Dragonlord Miniset product. Put in a little plug there, because it's a carrot to bring people out to Sorcery Con, which is the premier community event, really a big event. We had over 400 people last year. We're gunning for 500 plus. Still trying to work out the venue, guys. We hope to announce that soon. But there it is, guys. Whether it's the I can't, whether it's a Pudge Butcher hook by design and they're raking you in with the short print, or it is coincidental through mishaps with Arthurian Legends and trying to, issues with distribution and retailers and whatnot. It's bringing collectors back, right? It's creating a lot of buzz, and it's kind of reviving the game, to be honest. It's the set that saved Sorcery. I don't know about saved, but it's a set that's taken it to the next level. So congratulations to Erik Curiosa. Congratulations to Ed Bear Jr. And by the way, a lot of people talking trash about Ed and like saying, hey, like, oh, he's kind of taking advantage of the situation. No, guys. He put his own money on the line. He was not given his 700 boxes. He took a risk. He put his own money on the line. He invested in himself. He had a conviction in himself, and he took the risk, right? And he's grown his Patreon. Like 100 people signed up for his Patreon because of this, right? Because he is rewarding collectors, people who genuinely want his art. He's packaging it with a sketch or painted art card because he wants his art to go into the hands of art enthusiasts and art collectors. So good on you, Ed Bear Jr. Very smart. You put your heart and soul into this your entire career, and in the last 2 years, promoting and marketing the hell out of this game, creating the buzz, and directly helping in the success that it was as proven by the Team Covenant sale. So I feel like I've been loud this whole time, yelling and screaming. Hopefully you guys turn the volume down, and I'm 2x speed. I'm going to sound like an absolute maniac. But there it is, guys. It is the set that took Sorcery Contested Realm to the next level when everyone doubted it. Everyone loves an underdog story, especially when you're hated on and doubted, right? Everyone loves an underdog story, and here it is. Dragonlord Miniset, next level. Here we come, and in Gothic. Take care, guys. See you in a couple days.